G'day everyone, I'm Blaze, and welcome back to episode number 9 of the TriPoint podcast. I like saying that, it's really fun. I'm joined by my co-host as per usual.
Hello.
Hello.
It is I, the co-host, the no-named co-host.
Episode number 9, close to double digits, almost number 10, almost been doing this for 10 weeks. It's 2.5 months.
It is indeed.
It's too many, it's too long.
It's really
Can't
long,
believe it's been
actually.
that long. Anyway, anything before we get started?
I don't have any Tears of the Kingdom. I was about to say Breath of the Wild. I don't have any Tears of the Kingdom. However, I finished 3 houses.
You finished 3 houses.
I did it.
How long's that been?
Like 4 years. Literally.
Oh gosh. Wow, 3 houses is done. That means you'll never go back to it again.
Unless I pick up the DLC somewhere.
That's good. Somewhere. One day. Anyway.
Yeah.
Finish 2 houses. That's a congratulatory thing. I can't be bothered, however, I guess normal people in an edit would put like party poppers and stuff in and things. It's too much effort for the podcast. Anyway, I guess if there's nothing else,
yeah, that's it. I think
we shall move on to the main topic of today, and that is, I guess, like video game media that's not video games.
Movies and TV shows.
And books.
And books, yeah.
And interactive displays.
I was gonna say, and posters.
And plane trails if someone rides it in the sky. Anyway, yeah, the video games outside of video games, and I thought about this because I recently finished watching the Halo Season 2.
Yeah.
And Knuckles is currently airing. I have watched 2 episodes of that. Have you watched anything?
No, not yet.
Okay, yeah.
I've yet to do so.
I feel like we can have a fun discussion about like the old and the new and how it's gotten better and worse and up and down and left and right.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess right to start off, I feel like games in general translate best over to anime.
Yes.
I don't know if that's like a take or anything.
And I think as well, like, I think the general, like, I guess thing, really, I don't know what to call it, is that like, if it starts as a game and goes to something else, it's generally better as the game. But if it starts as like an anime and goes to a game, it's usually better when it's just the anime.
Yeah, I found
it's better. It's his original thing. Usually,
it is a little bit odd. I think Sonic is the one case that you can go for some of that.
Usually,
it can be depends which game you compare the movies to.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess. However, yeah. I think like, yeah, I always found that like doing like games in anime is generally better than most other media. I don't know whether it's because it's like more close to the game or what.
I think it depends on the game.
Yeah, I think a Zelda anime would be really good.
Yeah.
Where I really wish, instead of doing a live action movie, I really wish it was like a Studio Ghibli version of Zelda.
Yeah.
Because like, if you look at Mononoke,
nice.
it is, it's got a lot of Zelda elements in it that I think would be really nice, like as a full Zelda thing.
Very easily do a Twilight Princess based off that.
Yeah, I feel like they could. I have a feeling the live action one's gonna be more based around Ocarina.
Probably. That's a good place to start, at least.
Because that's the one that everyone
knows.
That, or it's going to be one of the newer 2 games.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure. I feel like the problem with the newer 2 games is I'm not sure how much they would be able to translate over to a movie.
I'm not sure.
There's a lot in those games.
I'd imagine they'd have like some significant side quests be turned into side plot lines
Yeah,
that just happen as the main things going on.
yeah. I think like when it comes to the newer games, it's like there's a lot of stuff happening. However, it's very spread out,
Yeah.
and I would be worried that like in a movie, the pacing might be a little off and not getting the required amount of things for the movie. So like,
Yeah. Especially, I think that Tears of the Kingdom would be a bit problematic because of like, just in general, because of the mechanics with like the whole having to fuse weapons because they're rusty and destroyed.
yeah,
Like,
it's
how would they even?
yeah. It comes down to like, would they implement that? Would they not implement that? Like,
Yeah.
because like, I guess that those are good things to talk about. Like, the largeness of a game translating over and what they translate over and how they do it.
Yeah. It definitely
Like,
works better for small games
yeah, I feel like
or games where it's like very linear.
yeah, I feel like where like Ocarina, I think would work better as a movie. Even that is gonna be like really big
Difficult.
though. Like, there's gonna be a lot of things they're gonna have to like move around and
Or
shorten,
like shorten. Yeah.
and probably even some things they wouldn't be able to include because like even if you were to play like Ocarina straight through without side quests and like running at I don't know 75% faster speeds or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it would take like a good 2 to 3 hours even.
Yeah, they'd have to split it into two or just have one really big
Yeah,
one.
because like when you think about it, like generally like with movies, like you have the structure, like the 3 act structure where you start somewhere, you go somewhere else, then sometimes you go somewhere else type thing. Like
Yeah.
that's like three main locations where Ocarina of the Time consists of 8 or 9, I think, off the top of my
There's
head.
a lot.
Therefore,
It
like
also means there's a lot of dialogue that would have to be cut out or like shortened down and things might
yeah,
not make as much sense.
yeah, it's like you start in Kakariko for the first act.
Yep.
You go to the castle, and then either you go to one of Goron, Zora, Gerudo. Like,
One of the
there's really only
places.
time for one,
Yeah.
and then head back to the castle to battle Ganon. It's like,
Yeah.
and not to mention like all the time travel stuff in between. It's like, yeah,
The
it's
stuff
a
that
very
makes
like,
it even harder.
yeah. I feel like I think like a Zelda set of movies, like a trilogy, would be really neat.
Yeah.
However, then comes the problem of like giving each one of them a good payoff
Yeah.
that leads up to the end, which I think they could like probably do. Maybe like each area, because like maybe the first movie he goes to the Gorons, and then like the end of the movie has him defeat like the boss in the Goron area,
Yeah. And
and
like
then
look
like the second movie has him go to
has
Zora's
a pan
domain, and
shot
yeah,
towards the next domain.
yeah. So basically, each movie is like its own set thing.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
could work. But it would
I wonder
just
how it
end
will go
up being a
because
lot.
Zelda Zelda is traditionally a long like game, like all Zelda
Yeah,
games.
it just is.
Therefore, like pacing works for a game like that because like you can jump out of it, jump back into it the next day, and all that sort of thing. Get a domain done and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
However, like for a movie, it's a little bit a
All
little
over
bit
the
harder.
place.
And then unless you want like a 5 hour movie, because then like you got all the characters to flesh out,
I
and that
mean,
goes back
I'd
to
watch
like
it, but
Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild
not
as well.
many
Like
people would.
you got like because Link isn't the most interesting character.
He isn't, but they can make him interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the idea of Link getting character personally.
No, neither.
I like sort of what they did in Ocarina, where he's always got a companion that does like the talking
Yeah,
and has the
he's
character.
in-game narrator.
Yeah, basically. I think
That
I'm more of a
works.
fan of that style, and I think that might work a little bit better.
Yeah. I also think quite a few people would know, at least to some degree, who Navi is.
Yeah, I think Navi would be fairly well known compared to like Fi or
Fi.
anything like that.
The egg.
Midna.
Midna.
Oh gosh. And then yeah, I think the other companion might like a good companion might be Zelda herself.
Yeah.
I feel like a Legend of Zelda movie should be more based around Zelda than Link, personally.
I agree, actually.
Yeah. Like the games
Zelda
are all about like
should
saving.
be the
Yeah.
main character.
Yeah, I think yeah, the games are all about like saving Zelda as Link. However, it's more like a quiet protagonist that you control and do everything around the world in. The Zelda
Yeah.
games are more based around their world and the characters in the world as opposed to the main character.
Yeah.
Therefore, for a movie which has to shift focus to generally have a main character, they might be able to get away with it otherwise. However, I don't know if that would be
I don't
plausible.
know how well that would work.
I think like Zelda would be a better main character, personally.
Yeah.
And then Link
And
can be
then
like the main side character.
you wouldn't run into the issue of like having to try and make Link talk.
Yeah. I think like what I always like in cinema compared to like is like, and it's something I don't feel like they did very well with the Mario movie. It's trying to create a new style with this media like that they're taking from.
Yeah.
A lot of the time they try to they like translate them over. They change things for certain cinema reasons. However, like they don't try to incorporate those things as part of the style. I think it would be
Yeah.
very interesting to see like a Zelda movie where most of the dialogue in the movie is like Zelda's monologue inside her head
It makes
because
yeah.
Link won't talk
Yeah.
back to her,
It
basically.
would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
It'd be like maybe some rhetorical questions
yeah,
and then in a monologue.
yeah. I think that'd be interesting. And then like she can ask Link, like questions that might be specifically like worded in a way for the audience to ask themselves,
Yeah.
like they would in a game.
You can make it past tense and have it be like narration from her diary.
Yeah, even yeah. It's like I think lots of things like that, and like I understand the idea of like having it be an action adventure movie because like that's what the
Yeah.
games are basically. Have like I don't know. I think that'd be interesting to see at least.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It'd make a lot more sense.
yeah, that's how. Wow, we talked a while for about the Zelda movie that's not even out.
Is that really that surprising?
No, I simply thought we were going to be talking more about like things that were out. That's all.
Hypotheticals.
However, like I guess the other point that we sort of brought up earlier is how they translate certain things over,
Yeah.
and I think a good like thing like a good comparison for this sort of thing is like comparing, as everyone likes to do, compare the Mario movie to the Sonic movies. The Mario movies, the Mario games generally have coins. That's one of the main focuses of the game.
Yep.
Were there coins in the movie?
There may have been some as like an Easter egg, you know, where the Toads have their shops or something like
Yeah,
that.
they didn't really like integrate
remember.
that game mechanic as part of the movie.
Yeah, they made it kind of odd.
How like the Sonic movie had rings. However, it's not done the same way as it is in the games.
It's it's done in a way that I guess gives them a reason to be there.
Therefore, it's like it gives them like the directors this kind of choice, I guess, of like, do you integrate it into the movie in a different way, or do you integrate it in, or not integrate it in the movie at all, mainly, basically?
Yeah.
Because they could integrate it into the movie the same way it would be in the game. However, like it would be a little nonsensical. I
He's
kind
just
of like
picking
how
up
they've done it in
rings.
the Sonic movie because like he pick up he runs around and picks up rings.
Yeah, he just has them.
I'm like, I kind of like how they did in the Sonic movie because it as well kind of calls back. It is shown as a game mechanic in the Sonic games that there's big rings that you go through.
Yeah.
Therefore, it
Just to
sort
the
of like
special
links.
stages.
Yeah, it sort of links the two ideas, like the normal rings and the big rings together. I think,
Yeah.
which
I mean,
I
they
think
get
works
bigger when he uses them.
fairly well. And it doesn't stray too far from the source material in that aspect, I don't think.
It works for what it is.
Yeah. And it's become a main part of the plot in a way of like being able to get these characters to different places and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Instead of just randomly being there.
yeah, exactly. It's integrated in. They've tried to integrate one of Sonic's main mechanics into the movie, where Mario didn't do that with theirs.
Yeah, they had like what a little bit of like power ups,
Yeah,
and that's it.
the power ups.
And Mario Kart.
Yeah, and Mario Kart. Like the Mario movie, I think off memory, I might be wrong. There was a lot of people saying how much they integrated into the movie from a game, making it feel really gamey and all that sort of thing. How like when you
Really?
step back and look at it, I don't feel like there is that much.
No,
They
I
took
agree
the
with you.
approach of rather than integrating it into the movie, they used it as a background reference in a movie.
Yeah,
I think.
maybe it just feels that way because of the whole Mario Kart situation.
Yeah.
They're like,
The-
that looks like the game I know.
Yeah. I think like Mario Kart, yeah, was like a big integration in. Of course, they needed to do that sort of thing. And if the next movie doesn't have him playing sports, I'll be upset. I think.
Plays golf.
like you've got like the power ups. While they were integrated, they weren't integrated in the same way. They were integrated well enough. I think like
Yeah,
they
they did
changed
their
enough to
job.
work. I like the idea that they had the power ups in and they made it fit the movie. However, like things like Mario turning small.
I think Mario felt more like a movie with a bunch of Easter eggs.
Yeah, it felt more like an animated kids film with like Mario elements. I think,
Yeah.
and where I think looking back at the Sonic movie, I don't know if it necessarily felt like a Sonic stuff.
No.
However, at the same time, I think it integrates more of Sonic's features into the movie better.
Yes.
I think that makes sense. I
It
think
gives a lot more things a reason
Yeah.
to be there without just being there for the sake of it.
Yeah. And I sort of like when they, rather than not have it at all, give it a little bit of a different take if they have to put,
Yeah.
like, yeah. I think that works better. Like,
I don't mind. It's an interpretation for a reason.
yeah. Like, we'll get into interpretations later because there's things with, like, the
is that a
Halo
different
show.
category? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is a different
Where
category if we're talking
I
about
would
that.
prefer the original story over the interpretation.
Yeah. I meant
However,
little things.
I think like with something like Sonic, especially because Sonic has been like Sonic sort of broke that ice years and years ago. It's had that many different universes and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. It has
I think it's
different
a lot
canon
less.
timelines and
Yeah,
everything
it's
else
just
in
all the
between.
different canons and things. It's like it doesn't I guess worry me as much when they do a different take on it.
Yeah, because it's something
And-
that already sort of exists.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know whether that's like sort of a bias that goes against other movies trying to do a different take. Like I'm always happy to watch a different take. Like I feel like we should state we do like the Mario movie.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great movie.
I really enjoyed the movie. I did a whole video on the movie. That's how much I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. How like
King Bob was the best part.
yeah. How like yeah. I think it's looking back on the Mario movie at least, and having watched it a couple of times now. Like I can start to see where a lot of the Mario-ness moves out of it, rather than look like
Yeah.
the visual theming is Mario to a T.
Yes.
And that's amazing. Like, they
Yeah,
keep going
it's
with
done
that.
really
That's
well.
actually something I wish the Sonic movie did more.
Yeah.
However, like when you look at the story structure and like how the movie works, it's not as Mario. Like there's exceptions
You
to that,
know-
of course. So like when they get the superstar at the end and take down Bowser
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing. However, like there is Mario elements. However, I think there's a lot less integrated into the movie, how the movie plays out, than there is in like the
You
Sonic
know what
movie.
it feels like to me? It feels like another Wreck-It Ralph movie.
Yeah, kind of. That's sort of what I like, isn't it?
It is.
I wouldn't be
Just-
surprised
okay.
if there was at least a little inspiration from that, because like even though Wreck-It Ralph wasn't a real game, at least when the movie came out,
Yeah.
it was sort of, when you look back at it, it was one of the first really successful game movies.
Yeah.
Therefore, I wouldn't be surprised if some like when looking at making an animated video game movie, there's not some people at least looking at that.
Oh, yeah, there definitely would be. I think it's
And
just like, oh, sorry, the dialogue, especially like the way that it's written, sounds very much like they had similar writers or these people looking at the same like dialogue structures.
yeah, yeah, it seems very. It's very like. I think it's interesting to compare like Wreck-It Ralph when it comes to video game movies because, as stated, it wasn't initially a video game. However, it was almost made
Yeah,
like there was a video game
yeah,
beforehand. I apologize about my bird as well. My
I
gosh,
can hear her.
I don't understand why she's started now. I don't have the treat that I usually use to keep her busy while we're doing this. However, yeah, no, yeah, Wreck-It Ralph's an interesting one to think about because, like, the second Wreck-It Ralph movie, haven't seen it yet. However, looking
I
at
haven't
it,
seen it
it
either.
doesn't focus very much around the video games
No,
in the whole. It
that's
focuses more around like
yeah,
the
probably
web
should
and all
have
that sort of thing.
explained that I'm specifically talking about the first one.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I
feel
don't think
like
either of us have seen the second one.
looking at Wreck-It Ralph as well. Like it is well integrated a lot of game mechanics in, like
Yeah, it did.
traditionally to the game because instead of being set as in like it is set as a game where the other movies are set as like a story first.
Yeah, I think
Like
that's where it.
yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is like the whole thing is that they're in a game. Like
Yeah, that's the whole point.
the whole mechanics are in there. Therefore, I
Yeah.
think when making like a story-based movie, like with Mario, where it's like not in a game in the universe, I
Yeah,
think I don't know. It's a little bit difficult to compare them in that sense. However, like at the same time, it's similar to compare them in other ways.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So moving on, I guess. Yeah. No, I think. Wow. Did we give our whole thoughts about the Mario movie then?
It's good. Trust me.
It is really good. It's a
There
fun
is
movie
just slight
overall.
criticisms though.
I simply think it could be like. I think it would have been more like somewhat fun to like add more elements in that like integrate into the world more. I think
Yeah.
because like there's nothing to say that like because Mario gets like hit up a lot like in the movie
Yeah.
and hurt a lot. However, like he takes the same amount of damage in the Mushroom Kingdom as he would in the real world,
Yeah.
which makes it seem more like it's a like that's how that whole universe is, as opposed to it being like a gamey type universe
It's
and all that
just
sort of thing.
yeah.
Not that that's the complaint. Actually, not that any of these are the complaints. Really,
It's not a complaint so to speak. It's more just like
it
this is
would be
this
something
thing.
interesting to see. I want to see like a video game movie that takes like full like its mechanics and everything like that, and like fully approaches it in a game in a
Just
movie.
runs with it.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting to
That
see
would be
because
good
like
actually.
if you look back at the long history of Sonic media, rings, while like the rings have always been there in most of them,
Yes.
except Boom, which is interesting.
Boom's built different.
They do make a reference to it though.
Yeah.
However, like rings have almost always done different things in each of the series.
Yeah, they've always had like at least like a semi purpose
Yeah,
aside from
I
just
think
being there.
yeah, I think in like the original like Sonic Saturday morning cartoon, he like that's how he was able to spin dash.
Yeah.
And then in Sonic X, I believe that was the same thing. However, it was like it looked more powerful, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then like yeah, and then Prime.
What are
Yep.
they doing, Prime?
He picks them up.
Is that the only one where it like doesn't have a purpose?
Yeah. However, it does what it does in the games.
Yeah.
I think that sort of shows the like importance of like translating it a little bit if need be.
Yeah.
Like he picks up the rings, he gets hit at one point and loses all his rings, and that's the last we sort of see of them.
Yeah.
And then
It is what it is.
yeah, and then the Sonic movies, they're part of how the traversal works and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I must say, I do appreciate that when he loses a lot of his rings in the second movie. I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong. It has been a little bit since I watched it. However, I'm pretty sure it does make the ring sound.
Oh, I can't remember.
I think, like the losing ring sound.
We'll find out in the third movie.
Yeah. Oh, the third movie. I'm excited for the third movie.
Yes.
However, oh, sorry, I'm losing my voice again.
Ugh, not again.
No, I only got it back recently.
Oh no.
Oh golly. However, yeah, no, and then like if you look at things like there's the Doom movie.
Yeah.
Did you know that was a thing?
I think I've heard about it before, but I've never seen anything to do with
So it
it.
stars Dwayne and Carl Urban.
Okay. Interesting.
It's very much not like Doom.
Yeah,
And then like you got all the Mortal Kombat ones and everything like that. I've never seen any of them.
I've never seen any Mortal Kombat
Neither have
stuff
I seen,
outside of the
like-
games.
Yeah. However, and then like you got the Animal Crossing movie.
There's an Animal Crossing movie?
It's an anime,
Oh,
and
that actually
I-
makes a lot more sense.
what I have seen from it. I haven't seen it. However, what I have seen from it, it looks really good. To be honest,
I can imagine.
and adorable because Animal Crossing.
Anime
yeah.
is definitely a good way to go for that.
Yeah. With anime as well, there's not this expectation, I guess, with with the mechanics.
Yeah,
Like anime tends to go a little bit wild with its everything.
it can be a bit more out there. It's not expected to be completely realistic.
Yeah. And I think that's like it's fun to look back at like you got the Kirby anime as well, which I don't think either of us have watched.
No, I haven't.
We'd have to ask our brother on that one. However, like
Yeah,
I don't know how faithful that stays to the games.
I have no idea.
And then like what other anime are there based on like games? There's probably plenty. I simply can't think of them right now.
I've never seen the old Fire Emblem one.
Oh, yeah, the old Fire Emblem anime.
I would love to see them do new ones.
You got
though.
the
It'd work
Pokemon
really
anime,
well. Yeah,
and the Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean-
depends how you see Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh was a card game first.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I see it as a card game.
However, like yeah, Pokemon's like an interesting one where it's more about like I guess like the journey, like translating the journey of the game over
Yeah.
rather than everything in the game.
Which actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And it does keep a lot of mechanics from the game. Like each Pokemon can only have 4 distinct moves.
Yeah.
Like evolving and all that sort of thing. Like not leveling
They
up.
have-
to-
They
Sorry.
show like all the different types of Pokeballs and whatnot too, don't they?
Yeah, all the Pokeballs are there and all that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like all the different berries are there.
Yeah.
However, they do take liberties sometimes as well. Like it's like it sort of depends, I guess. Not as much as the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime took liberties. Where they could pull out level 5 to 8 monsters without even worrying.
Who needs tribute summons?
That's a whole nother topic though. Yeah, they took liberties in the Pokemon anime. However, like I think Pokemon as a game series can translate pretty well over to other media.
Yeah.
I mean, it must do. There's been that much different media on Pokemon in the last 20-something years,
Exactly.
30 years or something. I don't know. The amount of different shows and
Been a
games
lot.
and movie.
Yeah.
There's
Multiple.
anime movies. However, there's like a main movie, I guess.
Yeah.
That you call like a live action movie. And even
I
that
guess you
translates
bring
over fairly okay.
I was gonna say, I
Have-
guess you bring stuff like Detective Pikachu and whatnot into it as well.
Yeah. I think Detective
Detective.
Detective Pikachu is it's an odd case where
It's kind
it
of
almost
just a
seems
side
like they
thing.
went out of their way to choose a game that didn't have as much game mechanics in it to adapt.
Yeah, which would make it easier.
Yeah, like Detective Pikachu is all about like the story, like
Yeah.
more than anything, like with slight detective stuff. However, but what I understand from what I've seen, like it doesn't really have that much to do in the games other than listening to cutscenes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Therefore, like it was one that's like it's prime for switching over to like a live action movie because they don't have to worry about like all the different concepts that go into how the
Yeah.
Pokemon like evolve and things like that. Like they simply evolve. That's how it works.
They're simply
Like,
just there.
like, like they walk into a room and an Eevee evolves into a Flareon.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like get to a specific level or anything like
Yeah, they
that.
don't have to worry about showing like certain stones or whatever.
Yeah, like
They simply
Pokemon
just
can
do.
use moves. However, like
Yeah.
it's done more in a way where like it's simply how the Pokemon works. They don't learn them or anything like that. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, it cut out for me again. There's
More
nothing new in this
technical
podcast.
difficulties. That'll be our mascot. Technical difficulties.
Oh golly, yeah, mascot. We should make like a Pokemon or something that's called technical difficulties. Anyway, being on the topic of Pokemon, what was it talking about again?
Something about Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah, Detective Pikachu. Yeah, I was just sort of explaining all the things they didn't have to like worry about translating over, and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Anyway, sort of I guess moving on to that, off of that, onto that, off of that. I don't know. Like
Wait,
the
no.
way that like they what story do they choose to like put into it? I guess
I guess
like for most media,
like well, see, that's probably why it's harder to do ones that don't have like a very specifically straightforward story. I
yeah.
was say storage.
Oh golly. Because then like you look at games that do have a like a fairly straightforward plot for the most part that has like things on the outside. Like
Yeah.
let's get back to it. Halo.
Yep.
This is what it's
It
been
has a
leading up to,
story.
I guess. Like the games, like while there is a lot of lore around the games, the stories are very straightforward, and I felt were quite easy. Would have been fairly okay to like
You
translate.
you don't need the outside lore from like books and stuff to be able to understand what's happening generally.
Yeah, I think like they could have kept it as like a different timeline. That's fine. Like I don't
Yeah.
expect them to do the main timeline because the way the
Yeah, of
Halo
course.
series works, at least, is pretty much unless stated, everything is canon,
Yeah.
which is very different to how other series work. It's really something I've only seen with the Halo series.
Yeah, it's usually the opposite way around.
Yeah. Usually
like-
it's nothing's canon unless stated it is. And like the Halo series is like always
Everything
assume it's canon
makes
unless
sense.
stated otherwise.
Yeah.
Like everything is written around to fit with the games, except for some situations, like with the Fall of Reach book and the video game
Yeah,
Reach,
very specific like
where there is a little bit of conflicts. However, I believe someone has fixed that,
Oh, okay.
like using lore, and I believe there's even cases of like fan projects that have like explained different events, like how June got off Reach and all that sort of thing. And I
Yeah.
think they're like, well, I don't know if they're like been published or anything by 343. I think they're considered canon, even though they're fan projects.
Yeah. Which
Because,
is
like-
perfectly fine.
Yeah. Have like then you got things like there's like the anime episode in Halo Legends, which that for the longest time that was the only thing that wasn't canon. I remember that. That was that was the only thing that everyone was like, that's not canon, like
Yeah.
because
Like,
it was
that's
a
not
play on
it.
like Dragon Ball and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think like it was
Yeah,
more of a
it's just there to
joke
be
episode
silly.
rather than anything. However, like even the because there's like Halo's strange because there's like everything else
It
is
is.
considered canon. However, it may display things differently to how it's displayed in other media.
How do you mean?
Like in the games, their chief and arbiter could be in a specific part and like not together at the time though. Where in like Halo Legends, it specifically shows them next to each other
Oh, okay.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know if that's true or if I made that up. However, like you know what I mean.
Close enough, yeah.
There's a good example. Like
Makes sense.
However, like at the same sort of time, it's more of like that's an interpretation of the same canon at the very least. Like it doesn't change
Yeah,
anything else. It only like
has slight
otherwise it was
differences.
yeah. And then when we get to the TV show, which is its whole own thing, even like before we go into that, even the trailers are canon in Halo.
But yeah,
I think the only thing like that isn't really canon, like properly, like that's out of all the main stuff, is like the sudden art style shift. Like they tried to explain that into the canon, however, they forgot the fact that they put a flashback earlier on in Halo 4 that showed Chief like back in like Halo 2 or something using his Halo 4 armor.
yeah, and then they messed it all up there.
And then Halo Infinite's trailers where they have Spartan 4s in London during Halo 2.
Yeah. Also, Mantis is in water.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
Yeah, Mantis is in water? Or
I don't know.
Sentinels, you mean?
Vehicles in water.
Yeah. Oh, that was more like... Halo
I know it was
Infinite's
to show
trailers
off,
are a
but,
little
like,
bit iffy.
I want to know where it went, though.
That was due to Halo Infinite changing a lot over its development,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I know, it's
There's
got
even
its
things
situation.
like the bees stuff and all the Cortana emails and everything, like they're considered canon, I believe.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there's all this like outside media that's all considered canon in the Halo universe. However, you don't have to know all that stuff to enjoy
You
the
don't,
game
like,
story.
specifically need it.
Yeah. Whereas the TV show tried to make its own canon, which is fine. I'm happy for them to do that. However,
that's fine.
when it's like, I don't want to say objectively because I'm sure there's some people who like it.
Yeah.
Like when it's, I guess, worse.
Considered to be worse by the general populace.
Yeah, it's like you're both alienating the core audience who wanted to watch a Halo show.
And also, like, completely misdirecting people who may not know what it,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
where it
it's
comes
it's
from.
sort of it's very strange, like the path they took with the Halo show.
really
Like
odd.
I don't mind it being different. It's
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
fine if it's a little bit different. If some of the things could take a little bit of a different turn. However, like when you look at the stories of the games and you say, "Well, they're way better," why would you go down the route like
Yeah, I don't know.
like like taking out Captain Keys or Admiral Keys as they put him up to in the second season of Halo before he even got to the ring?
The Flood's only the tiniest of popcorns.
Like what differs in like the Halo universe, because everything is generally canon, to like the Sonic universe where there's lots of all these different things and the stories can change up between games and all that sort of thing. Like Halo is meant to
Yeah.
be a consistent universe.
Yeah.
Like that's its whole thing.
And in
And
the series,
therefore,
it's
when
just
you
not.
tell someone like me that there's going to be a Halo TV show, I would go like, "Oh my gosh, I get to see all these
Expecting.
events and fun things from the games played out on the
Exactly.
screen." It's a little bit different
And then
to
you get there, and it's like, what is happening?
yeah. It's like what is this? This doesn't feel like
It's a similar sort of thing where it feels like it's just like a regular series that could do without the name, and it just
yeah.
looks like it has Easter eggs in it.
A lot of the time when they make like series and movies and stuff based off games, it's almost like they make the movie first and then slap the game into it. As opposed to like making a movie based around the game. And like I do like all the little elements in the Halo show, like sometimes it'll show inside their HUD, or
Yeah,
sometimes you'll see weapons that are out of the
sometimes.
games. Other times you'll see generic ones.
Yeah, just
then,
really
like,
weird.
Overall, I think the armors look amazing. I'm really glad they didn't go
I
for the
actually do
4 and
like
5
them.
style.
Hmm.
I don't think it fits Pablo very well. However, I think they look pretty good overall. Like even Kai's and Vanix and Riz's armors,
Riz's.
despite them being like new, however based off older things, like they
They
look
still
really
look-
good. Like they look like Spartan
Yeah.
2 armors.
They look like what they're supposed to.
Yeah, and then the Spartan 3s look amazing. Like
They do. They look great.
I really like how they
They
look.
did that good.
Yeah, I think generally overall the look and style for the Halo show is pretty on point for
Except
the
for
most.
the Covenant ships. They're not purple enough.
They're not purple enough. Yeah,
They're not
yeah. The Covenant
colourful.
ships look like they're walking through warehouses sometimes.
I
It's,
look
it's
at
always
it.
been funny with that.
Sometimes
Like
there
you
have
walk
been
into a Covenant
scenes.
ship in the games, it is like the most purple of all purples.
Yeah,
Like
it's the
everything is
brightest
purple.
color
Like,
of purple.
of like it's very. It can be very. I've noticed it can be very bluey in like
Yeah,
the show and all that sort of thing, and then like grays and all
there
that
are
sort of
like
thing.
some scenes where they're
Yeah,
like they've shown like the floor and what like the control panel of a Covenant ship, and I'm like, is that a UNSC ship or is it a Covenant ship?
yeah. It's just like this doesn't look
What is
like a
that?
Covenant ship. Like.
And then they have their little weird orb controls, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't even remember the orb controls being a thing out of Covenant
No,
ships in the
neither
games.
do
I might be
I.
wrong.
But at
Like,
least it was slightly different.
yeah, like,
At least I could tell then.
and I know Halo's always been a big thing, like a big one for hologram. Actually, it's more Forerunner like
Yeah,
having the holographic like panels and everything like that.
yeah.
It's always been more
The
of a
light
Forerunner thing.
panels.
Like you look in the Halo games, they're always showing like data pads around and all that sort of thing. Like they're not using holograms all the time. Sometimes they'll use like a hologram for like looking at the ground and all that sort of thing, and then like the AIs are usually all holograms. However,
They
like
have the weirdest like they either use like full holograms or they just do everything manually in the series, and it's really weird
yeah.
because they have
Whereas like you look
some
back at
people-
Halo 3, like the humanity was on its last foot and everything. Like, the Covenant was attacking. Like they were in this old like grungy base with very little like what looked like new technology.
Yeah,
Like they were using a lot of analog things and all that sort of stuff. Like
yeah,
a lot of the digital, some to make things more futuristic, they'd add like a digital counter on the weapon or something.
yeah,
Like that was the difference. They didn't add like full holographic like everything
Yeah.
under the sun. Like
whereas like in the TV series, right, they have it where it's like fully hologram, like this is clearly done by an AI, or they have the complete opposite where it's like there's a person changing it over and it's like
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
tangible item, and I'm like, what is
they have a big
happening?
screen where they pull out a piece of paper and switch it over to another thing. It's like
Yeah,
where
was like-
you're in the middle of a war. Where do you have time to get paper printed out like this? Put it on a screen. Like that's the thing. I think in like the Halo games they use screens a lot.
yeah,
Where in like the TV show they go down the generic sci-fi route where everything has to be holograms. When
Everything's a
holograms really
hologram.
aren't that good.
no,
Like if I'm looking at a topographic map of something,
Yeah.
I would prefer to look at it on a screen with like details presented as opposed to a big blue blob in the middle of the room.
oh yeah, I would not be able to focus on the actual thing because I'd see everything behind it.
Yeah, it's like
I'd see the doorway.
it's like holograms. I feel like they always throw holograms into things because like it's futuristic and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And I think
Like it looks
for looking
fun.
at like 3D objects, like I guess,
it's
and for
so
scale,
actually
I guess
bad.
might be a little bit better. Have like you can look at 3D objects on like a screen, like
Yeah, I'd prefer it if they just have like how they generally do with the topographic maps, and they have it like so it's slightly raised above like a light table, but it's not much enough of a problem where you just like look
Yeah.
through it.
yeah, and it's like the biggest thing as well is they always use like single color holograms.
They're always the same shade of blue.
Yeah, it's like why are all these universes at the point where they can make holograms? However, they
But not
can't
different
like
colors?
implement different colors into it. Like, I wouldn't even put like holograms out to the market until the colors are changeable. Like,
I know. Where's the RGB?
like, like it's funny because like Star Trek has like proper holograms,
Yeah.
like full fledged like everything's colored and all that sort of thing. And sometimes I feel like that's a little bit of a waste. Like I think this is going a little bit off topic. However, like in Deep Space Nine, there's a little hologram generator in the back of one of the ships,
Oh, okay.
and it is specifically there that people can speak through hologram there. It's like, why not
Yeah.
put them up on screen?
Wait, yeah, what?
Like, what advantage does having this hologram generator where you can see someone who's standing there as opposed to seeing their face on the screen? Like,
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know how that makes.
all it does is
difference.
waste space. Like,
It's so odd.
there's things like that. Like, and then you got like the Star Wars holograms where they always look like they're a CRT hologram. They're always flickering and have scan lines
Yeah.
through them and all that sort of thing. It's like, why even use them at that point?
Yeah, just like record the voice or something.
I've always found that funny in Star Wars. Like, like it looks
They
like the
always look like they're
video
about to
quality
turn
is
off.
about to like degrade and like it's going to pop up saying like no connection or something like that. It's like,
It really is like that.
oh golly, holograms. Oh, they're fun types of things. I don't think they're like
But
the
they
be all
shouldn't
and
be
end all.
used in excess.
Yeah, I don't mind them like overall. I like how like I always liked in the games how it's like it's split up like the human uses very like militaristic old looking tech in the future. The
But it's
Covenant use
still
like sci-fi
designed in a way
alien
where it
things that look
works.
really strange, and then the Forerunners used
Yeah.
like the generic sci-fi
Yeah.
mixed with a little bit of like ancient artifacts type thing.
Yeah.
Where like I think using the generic sci-fi is fine if you mix it with something like that.
Yeah.
Like you walk into like in like 1 to 3 and infinite to a degree, I guess. You walk into a Forerunner area and it's like this place looks like it's been abandoned for forever, type thing.
Yeah.
However, it has like futuristic tech going off in it at the same time, and I think that's like a nice combo.
That is a good way to do it.
4 and 5, they simply like lots of flashy lights and clean
Yep.
metal and yeah.
Lights, it sounds and lights.
Almost everything in 4 and 5 look Forerunner.
Yeah. Most things do, I think.
All the UNSC stuff, like as well.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not like it's funny though because the Forerunner stuff doesn't look Forerunner in 4 and 5. It's really odd.
It is a bit kind of true, actually.
It is really odd. Like I don't mind the style for 4 and 5 overall. Like I think we had the
No, I
sort of
think it's
thing where we
fine.
got used to it fairly early on before we played other
Yeah.
games. However, like
But
yeah,
still.
it's funny. I'm glad they went with the normal, more traditional Halo style in the series at the very least.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Considering how long the series has been in development, I wouldn't have been surprised if they went with the original. Or
Yeah.
with 4 and 5 style. Oh golly. The other thing I don't like about the series very much is like it's taking all these elements like it looks like season 3 is going to be basically Halo CE like interpreted in how the TV interprets
Yeah.
things, how the show interprets things.
Now the TV
However, like,
interpretates.
Yeah, however he's like however he's like he's wearing armor that looks closer to what he's got in Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
It's
It's really odd.
it's really like I would have preferred like I really like the CE armor. I have a bias towards that. However, like
Yeah.
even then I would have liked to see like the show like slowly upgrading him over time like they do in the
Which-
games.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right now like he should be in his CE armor and then yeah, like going on and on. This isn't the only thing that did that. Like Halo Legends and the Fall of Reach show did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like in the Fall of Reach show, he had kind of a mix of his Halo 4 armor and Halo CE's armor,
Yeah.
which was really odd to look at.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't know.
everybody had like different helmets. That's the other thing as well.
The
In this
different
time
helmets.
frame, they should all have the same helmet.
I guess it's just to be able to tell them apart.
Yeah,
don't
I
speak.
understand that. However, like in the games, the different helmets was introduced with his like the armor that everyone knows him for, like in Halo 2. Like
Yeah.
that's when different helmet styles were introduced. Before that,
But-
everyone had the same helmet. Like it's
At least they look nice.
yeah, they do. I can't fault that, and I
Can't
understand why
complain
they
about
do
that
it.
one.
So it's the same thing in like the package in Halo Legends and all that sort of thing. Like that is set well before the games and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, that's where like Fred and Kelly's like main armors were introduced.
Yeah.
Like in that. However, like at the same time, it was set before. Why would they have the armor like that?
Yeah, that is a bit odd. Just for fun.
Yeah, and he's got the 117 in that as well. And the same thing with Forward Onto Dawn. He shouldn't have that armor, and why does he got the 117?
Oh, no one knows.
it's
They tried.
very odd.
The one thing
However,
they
yeah,
couldn't keep consistent.
I guess this is the one thing. They never keep that consistent. The armors are always
Nope.
changing. Then they try to explain it, and it's funny.
Yeah, it's like
I guess
it's
the
like,
other thing
hey.
they can never keep consistent is Cortana's design.
Oh my god.
That was always true in the games, however, it's true in the series
Never
as well.
consistent. The one
changed
correlation they
almost-
have that's correct.
It changed almost every game, with the exception, I think, of like Infinite's Cortana looks like Halo 5's, except she's purple.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
which is fine.
I know people don't like Halo 5 Cortana's design. I don't mind it, personally.
I think it's. I've personally never really, like, had an opinion necessarily on Cortana's designs. I'm like, it's Cortana.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've never been I never really liked Halo 4's Cortana design.
That's fair.
My favorites were always CE and 3s, I think, would probably be my favorites. However, like, and I like that she's gone back to being purple, like in Infinite. I like that.
Yeah. It's not
I
just
always
the
liked
same
purple.
static blue all over.
Yeah, because I personally prefer like the weapons design
In.
in Infinite.
Oh, okay.
The AI weapon.
Oh, that weapon. You said weapon, so like
We
matter
don't
of
know her
factly.
name yet.
Yeah.
Oh golly,
The
I actually
weapon.
prefer her design to.
Oh goodness. Did you drop out again? Oh come on, we're like almost right at the end of the podcast again. Did you drop out again? Come back.
I feel like that's our timely cutout to remind us that we're getting close to the
I
end
said
of
the
the episode.
weapon, and you just like disappeared.
Anyway, yeah, we're back. Yep, cut out. Yay.
And yeah, another cutout.
That's as usual. I feel like my Xbox turning off its internet likes to let us know that it's time to end the episode soon.
It is time to end the episode.
Therefore, yeah. Any other TV shows and stuff that you really want to go over about? Like,
Um,
Prime was great. I like Sonic Prime.
It was really good. I think most people can agree that Shadow was the best. He was just everyone's babysitter.
I'm glad that Shadow had like a lot to do in the show.
Yeah, he wasn't just
That-
put there.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing about that. Like, I feel like the cartoons are something we can more discuss on like a different day. I think we're more talking about like
I
live
think
action
those are
today, I
still
guess.
kind of different. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Have
in
like
their own thing still.
what other live action? You could the original Mario movie. That's a movie.
That raptor Yoshi got me.
Raptor.
Little
He's
dinosaur.
adorable.
He is. Best part of the movie.
I don't know how anyone's gonna ride him.
No, but he's great.
I want to see another Yoshi like that. It reminds me of like, because you got the Godzillas, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's like Godzilla 2000, I believe it's when it came out, where he looks more like a dinosaur than Godzilla. And then there was another Godzilla movie, I think in Japan, where that version of Zilla, as they like to call him, Zilla, or
Oh,
her, from the 2001 comes into like battle like the normal Godzilla and gets
That's
destroyed almost instantly
Hilarious. That is amazing.
because nobody likes the design from
I
that
need
one.
to see this.
You can look it up afterwards. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll look it up later.
Oh, golly. Alright, it's sort of like that. I want to see like Raptor Yoshi come in to battle normal Yoshi.
They start running at each other.
It's what happened. Oh, golly. They really went into the dinosaur and fungi thing in the original Mario movie.
They really did.
They tried to implement the game stuff. There's a lot of mushrooms in Mario games, and there's a lot of
They tried.
dinosaurs. That's an example of how not to do it.
Yeah.
It's funny because I thought we were going to talk about the Sonic movies more in this, and I think we may have to keep that for their own podcast.
Yeah.
We did a lot of comparing with them, however, we didn't really talk about the
Well, we
movies
still got to
themselves.
wait for 3 to come out, so.
Yeah, I think we should talk about those two movies the episode before we watch the third movie,
Yes. Yeah, I can agree with that.
and then we can talk about the third movie for the whole episode after.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
I think that's a good idea.
That would make sense.
Anyway, anything else to discuss
Not really.
in that sense? Okay, how did our poll go for this week?
Our one, we had someone say that they prefer the Legacy console
Yep.
for Minecraft. I can agree. It's pretty good.
Did you want to talk about the comment or?
Nah.
Nah, okay. It's alright. Oh, golly. Anyway, yeah. Fire Emblem poll?
So with this one,
Yay!
May. And now they're trying to figure out what the next one will be.
Okay. Therefore, this might be the last poll for that. We'll find out. Anyway, as always, that will be linked in the description to who runs that poll. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Their name.
Ben.
Okay.
I have it up in front of me.
Shout out to Ben.
BenFM, specifically.
Anyway, our poll for this week will probably be we put like 4 movies in and people tell us what they prefer.
Movies,
Yeah,
series.
that'll probably be it. Like we can put like 4 different video game movies in. Probably one of the Sonic movies, Mario, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, we'll just put the Halo series there for fun.
Something like that. I don't know. Doom. Oh golly. Anyway, Sword Art Online.
So,
Oh golly. Anyway, if there's nothing much else to say, this episode is quite long.
well,
I don't know how long
so.
it's going to be once I cut everything out. However, yeah.
Yeah, we do
Therefore,
have a little bit to cut out.
I hope everybody enjoyed this episode of the TriPoint podcast. We shall be back in the next one. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, cheers.